Hey everybody, it's CJ Graham, Jason Voorhees. That's right, Friday the 13th, part 6. And you're listening to thescenesnobs.com.
Have you and your furry best friend ever been bored? We have a cure for that. Get your subscription box with our affiliate link now.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Scene Snobs Reviews. I am checking out I've checked out the new movie, Raven's Hollow. It's a new Shudder movie that just came out. The story goes as such. A young Edgar Allan Poe, who is a cadet at West Point, is on a training exercise with some of his fellow cadets when they stumble across a man who's been tied and tortured to what looks like a shrine of sorts in the woods, and they bring him to a nearby town, and then they are haunted by what is being described as a raven. Yes, a raven. That's what it is. Raven's Hollow is it's a send up to the love many people have for Edgar Allan Poe and his work and his mysterious life is really what it comes down to. But this is, of course, the tale of him as a cadet at West Point. And it's all fictionalized. It's none of it other than he was in West Point for a time. None of it's real. One of the things that really kind of bugged me about it is, like, if you do even a little bit of a Wikipedia read about him, you could have added in the elements, because at one point the rest of the cadets are like, well, you're a cadet, Poe, what are you doing here? Well, Edgar Allan Poe was in the army, and he had fought in a few battles. By the time he got into West Point, he asked to be transferred to, he put in a request for that, but he had already been in the army, raised to ranks. I think he was a lieutenant sergeant or something like that. I forget exactly what he was at the time, and then he went to West Point. Now I'm not going to nitpick there, and everybody, I appreciate you jumping in. So if you got comments you want to comment along with, please join in. I would love to hear them, and I'll bring them up at the end. But yeah, this is a new movie that came out on Shudder. It was directed by Christopher Hatton. He's done a couple of other things. This is his probably his most ambitious project so far to date. Whereas, it seemed like it was on set in a location that they built for it, because this whole town, it's supposed to be 1830 at the time, and I gotta give it to this movie. It looks really cool. The art direction, the production design, everything they did for it is awesome. The costuming is really good. In the CGI, for what this is, it's a low budget horror film that was shot in Latvia. It's sort of, to equate that to something, sort of like maybe something you would have seen on sci-fi back in the day, maybe about 10 or 15 years ago. It's not bad. The CGI could be better, but it's definitely better than most that you would see. So they did a pretty good job with it there. Now, as far as the story of Raven's Hollow, it is just that. It lives up to its name. It is hollow. The acting was okay, about what you'd expect for a budget film like this, and what it was. Nothing really stood out. No character stood out. So nothing too overwhelmingly great or anything like that, in my opinion. But I thought they did a good job. They were, for what it was, and with the story being what it was, which really was just dragged out and sort of boring. There's nothing really to latch onto. There's no characters that you were really like, I love this character. Even the actor who played Edgar Allan Poe, William Moseley, he was recognizable. I don't really remember him from much, but so he was, I guess, one of the kids in Narnia. and he was on a few other shows. But he did fine. But again, like his character, everybody was so hollow. I just didn't really get into it. So. And I know I realize I keep using that name, but it actually really works for this. It's just it was a 98-minute movie that was a love story to Edgar Allan Poe. And it's just one of those things that you've seen that are familiar when you do a movie where like you're trying to like pay tribute to a famous author or something like that. And it's like, okay, so a raven is terrorizing this town. This guy's name is Usher. This guy, all these different things that add up to his different stories. And it's kind of like, oh, well, this is how he must have gotten everything. Just remake one of his stories. Why not do that? I mean, they're all public domain, I don't quite understand why you have to tell us, kind of like drum up a story that's really not different. Like it doesn't stand out. Like the only really thing I see to other send-ups to Edgar Allan Poe I've seen in the past is that they did it at a time where he's in West Point. Cool. Something different. Again, I really like the costuming and the West Point stuff like that, but the story really gave me nothing. And, it was kind of a boring movie to watch. I don't think I would watch it again. But with everything I did like about it, I did rate it 2 ravens out of 5. So that's not too bad, and sort of a middle of the road type sort of movie. And it's just not one that really fits. Shudder's been putting on some pretty good ones lately, and this was not one of them in my opinion. But I would love to hear what you guys think. Are you going to check out the movie? Is it something that's in your wheelhouse? I like Edgar Allan Poe. I like a lot of the movies that were made about his stories. I would love to see somebody try and tackle Casca Maldonado again and try and do that like more with a more up-to-date thing. That could be pretty cool. But I'm kind of over all of these. Let's pay tribute and come up with kind of a cool gothic way to tell his stories and how the man just came up with the ideas. But it's not just low budget. Like they did what was it called with John Cusack not too long ago where he played Poe, and it was just like, come on, really? And was that called Raven? I don't even know. Rather than just actually maybe do the Raven, that could be interesting. But that's just me. I know I'm being a little nitpicky here, and I've been watching a lot of horror lately, so this one kind of let me down a little bit. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. If you see the movie or if you liked it, maybe I'll change my mind. So we can go on from there. Just so you guys know, tonight, so Sunday night, we are doing part 2 of our Halloween horror movie countdown revisit. We're revisiting number 74 through 50. 74 through 50. I'm currently on 37 today. So you're going to have a lot to catch up on. You can go check out part 1, which is out already. We have tons of other things going on. Go check out my reviews of not only Raven's Hollow, which you're watching now, but I did a review of Meet Cute and Don't Worry, Darling. Go check those out as well. I want to say thank you to our patrons. We appreciate you for helping us keep the lights on. You guys are all amazing. Tim, Paul, Stacy, Matt, Aaron, Chris S., Chris H., Dan, John B., Ron, Jason, AJ, Radar, and John W. If you guys want to join, we have 3 tiers available over on patreon.com/thescenesnobs. Make sure to head over and join the Snobs Nation Discord. Great conversations going on all the time. We do watch parties and tons more, so jump in and have a good time with us. Make sure to like this video and hit subscribe. We have great shows like the Scene Snobs Podcast, which is live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We have Real Combat Season 2 coming back in October. Plot Roast. Of course, you're watching Scene Snobs Reviews, Geek Fest Live, and we have a few more shows being added. We have merch, too, so wrap yourselves up in some cool Scene Snobs merch. We got the logo, we got some sayings, we got our motto, everything. We also have other stuff, too, not just mugs and cups and things like that, but plenty more, and we have more to come. Make sure you're following us over on all those social medias at the Scene Snobs. Everywhere except for TikTok, which is at the Scene Snob, because it won't let me change it. Just want to say thank you all for watching. You guys are amazing. I, of course, am Mick Manhattan from the Scene Snobs Podcast, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Stay tuned and stay geeky.